you are really, really religious about these routines.
You just call me Routine Ray because I want routine.
I need the energy. I have like a death narrative.
Your partner will influence the way that you eat.
Oh, it's only going to be one winner.
Choose wisely. Let's talk routine.
Yeah. The routine that I rely on the most is
Stay Sharp, episode 36. I'm Jordan Ray. This is Rashad Tyler.
I don't know if I like the peace signs anymore. I feel like that's for girls on Instagram.
That looks pretty groovy. We are your hosts for the podcast, obviously, and the dynamic duo behind Rare Label, Visionary Agency. We're glad to have you here. Mm-hmm. If you are returning, welcome back. If you're brand new, hello and nice to meet you. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm still on my tea vibes. So it's got me feeling really, really smooth. Low key turned up, but not agitated.
Yeah. Do you know, are you just really sensitive to caffeine?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's because at one point in time, I was not at all. I was overdoing it. I would drink like pre-workout at 12 at midnight in the studio.
But some people are just sensitive to caffeine just regardless of whether or not they've built up.
But doesn't your tolerance decline with use?
I bet it does. I'm sure it does. Yeah. But I think that regardless of whether you have a tolerance or like if you don't have a tolerance, some people, like if we were doing a study between two people or whatever that do not have tolerances for caffeine, they're still going to respond to it totally differently. Yeah. Like tolerance.
My tolerance is totally because I do not have any caffeine in my diet. Yeah. So I'm even noticing the pickup.
Yeah. You kind of maybe do like once a week, maybe on the green tea. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Whenever we shoot or whenever you're like randomly making, I'm just like, yeah, let me get a little bit. So yeah, I guess so. I guess it comes down to maybe once a week.
Yeah, he hyped up on caffeine, y'all. And I do a little green tea every day. It's not much caffeine, but I enjoy it. I'm not drinking coffee at this time. And that feels really good. I feel, I got in a rhythm with coffee and then it started to just really contribute to my anxiety. And that just needed to be put on the wayside. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
I like that.
I'm a little thirsty, but I got some water, so I'll hydrate. Okay. I've been really excited about the show we're watching right now. And every night I'm just anxious to watch the next episode.
Ripley?
On Netflix is insane. It is probably one of the best series that I've ever watched. And I love to be put on things that have withstood decades of, reimagined renditions of, just different versions of it. So this is a book by, I think I want to say her name was Patricia something. I might be totally butchering that, but it was published in 1955, The Talented Mr. Ripley. So some of you might be familiar with the story or the original. And then it was a movie with, I'm not sure who the actor was a while back.
Jude Law, Scarlett Johansson, and Matt Damon.
So the only reason why Rashad is familiar with that movie is because of Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. And he made that clear to me. And I'm like, well, cool.
Hey, man.
I'm in support. I'm fine with that.
I mean, there's I'm not the celebrity crush list person who has that, but I'm just like, there are like two Caucasian women that I always thought like.
She make the list.
Her and Jessica Biel.
Oh, okay.
Because they're like, for white women,
Jessica
they're not.
Biel kind of got something in her though.
That's what I'm saying. Both of them little like, yeah. That's right.
Spicy.
Yeah, I was never like.
They say spicy.
Yeah, that played Honey Daniels in the movie. She was in Jessica Alba. Like, you know, she's kind of like a...
Her and Jessica Biel like the same person to me.
Nah.
I think you talking about Jessica Alba.
I'm talking... I know Jessica... That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Jessica Alba, I'm just like,
Okay.
And not just... I mean, these are all like incredibly talented and beautiful women. I'm just saying like, you know, it's a little more like dice game in Scarlett Johansson. She's like... you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit more like...
I understand what
and
you're saying.
We've had this conversation a lot of times, like, you know, pretty is boring. Like, you need a little edge. Like, you have a lot of edge.
Yeah, depending.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I can definitely go there.
Spicy.
Yeah, I gotta reel myself in sometimes, but I love Ripley right now. I love it for the way that it's shot, the coloring, the story it's intense. The episode that we just watched the other night was one of the most, I think you said gruesome, literally gut-wrenching, captivating, on the edge of your seat episodes of a TV series of all time.
There's never been 40 minutes like that.
So tense. So Ripley on Netflix is great. And if you, especially on the creative tip that we always got to give a nod to, it's just, it's absolutely flawless. You know, the styling, and if you have an eye for those kinds of things, you'll see, but you don't have to have an eye for those stuff, those things to still enjoy.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you love psychological thrillers, if you don't mind seeing a little, you know, bloodshed, it's a thing. So yeah, I look forward to that tonight. I'm doing well. Our conversation today is about habit, routines, and systems. You know, we want to share a little bit about the difference between those three things, just to put the conversation into context, and let you all in on what we do, some of our routines that may or may not be known. And I think you might find some of the stuff that we do interesting, I think, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the difference between habits, routines, and systems, I'll break that down.
Yeah.
If
a little definition is always helpful.
Yeah, I looked into this. I asked ChatGPT. Obviously, I did some thinking on my own about this, but a habit is sort of like a reaction, something that you just do subconsciously. So like you don't really think about it. It's a little mini part of your day. We have a lot of habits, good and bad.
Yes, I got a lot of bad ones.
A routine, a group of occurrences, or, you know, like they come subsequently to each other. Maybe a subsequence of habits, if I'm making that sound okay. Then a system is more of like a structured pattern of, let me see what ChatGPT said real quick. Because it broke it down. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Yeah, systems are a set of detailed methods. They're a bit more complex. Where, and I think the examples that we share will definitely, you know, I see where I do systems in my life and where I do routines, maybe where I need to kind of sharpen up some stuff.
And you can totally guide me if I go off, because I'm not as clear about that language separation as I want to be. So we'll get to it as we go.
A habit that I have that seems very obvious, but I don't think that everybody does this, is I stretch before I work out. Okay. I don't understand how people go to the gym and I just see them walk in the gym and then they like go straight to a machine, maybe straight to a treadmill without even like stretching anything.
Yeah. How long is your stretch routine?
Probably 10 or 15 minutes, 10 at the least.
Yeah.
It's definitely more than that. But I don't know. I just see people sometimes going to the gym, maybe getting on a treadmill because you're walking. I can understand, you know, you may not have to stretch before you just go on a walk, but people be going in there.
But
and
do you think people just
machines.
don't have experience with having opened their body up and like, you know, understand the range responsibility
and just how it's
protect themselves against injury? It's
preventative from injury. Yeah, I think. Yeah, and if you can relate, if you in a gym at all, you know what I'm talking about. If you a gym goer, and if you are a gym goer that doesn't stretch, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, how do you not at least touch your toes or try to touch your toes? You know, you ain't got to touch your toes, but
But I remember working out a long time ago with somebody who did not work out. And I'm like, well, this is our warm up. It's a stretch. And they was like, this is the workout for me. And I'm like, okay. So I realized there may be like levels to it too, right?
The exception that I have is that if you are getting on the treadmill for a walk, I could understand, I'm just going for like a light walk, just warming. That might be part of your warm up.
Yeah.
But for me, if part of my warm up was getting on a cardio machine first, it would be the treadmill just so I could walk at whatever pace that would be, maybe like a 2.5 or a 3. Mm-hmm. And then I'm still probably going to stretch after that to do whatever the next thing is in my workout.
If you're going to do anything explosive.
Yeah, unless I'm just going to walk. But regardless, I just see so many benefits in the habit of stretching. It might even be when you first wake up in the morning, you have the habit, or you create the habit of, okay, I'm going to sit in bed for an extra, 3, 4, 5 minutes even, and just do like the butterfly stretch, or kind of, stretch my arms, or just do seated cat cows, like get them go.
That's exactly what it was suggesting to me.
Yeah. So have that habit. I definitely wanted to share that because it's something that be irking my nerves when I see other people not take advantage of the benefits of stretching. And I'm like, wait, even if you do or do not do like heavy lifting, or you don't do Pilates or whatever, like the activity is that you do or don't do, I think we all could benefit from a stretching habit.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think a lot of people just are trying to get in and out of there fast, and the stretching feels like yoga for a person who's not a workout person.
Yeah, it could.
And I've just learned, or I'm trying to actively pay attention to what people who are comfortable with like the idea of the gym as a routine, and people who are like literally trying to like get into it. So I'm with you.
It's tough.
It's different. It's different.
I think
for everybody.
too, I definitely empathize with anyone who might be listening and you're like, I don't go to the gym. Like that's not very comfortable for me, because I was in the gym the other day and I could tell that there was a woman in there that was about my age. And now, again, I want to be careful at making assumptions about anybody. I always want to say that first. But it looked like she was uncomfortable and that she maybe didn't go to the gym a lot. Maybe she was starting a new routine. Mm-hmm. And she was utilizing space near the TRX machine. And I needed to get on there for my last set. But I said, you know what? I'm going to sit back. Maybe she'll move. She wasn't using the machine, though, but she was in the space where she was so close to the machine. If anybody wanted to use it, it would have looked like she was on it, even though she was just doing some lunges with some dumbbells. But she looked really uncomfortable. I'm like, this might be her first time in the gym. I decided to change what I was going to do and not go over to her.
Because there's a girl that comes in there who's always like, are you done yet? Or like, how many? I'm like,
you go into the gym at a different time than me for sure.
And I'm like,
he go with the night people. They be on another level.
This was actually, I've caught her in my morning sessions. Mm. And she just saying, nice.
I think I might know who you're talking about.
Entitled white girl.
Cause she asked me this morning if I was using the thing, and I'm like, no, what happens is people don't re-rack their weights. So you think I'm on the thing, and I'm like, I'm not on it.
She's in such a rush, but I imagine she's like, one of these, medical students or something.
She be talking on the phone sometimes. She be talking kind of loud.
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll discuss. Yeah. But yes, if you're not comfortable in the gym, we're not trying to make nobody uncomfortable. It is a really tough thing to decide that you're going to be consistent with some sort of physical activity. So we can definitely encourage you and maybe be inspiration for that to happen, but it's not anything we're really trying to like nitpick on. It's not a big deal. Yeah. You have a habit that you...
Yeah, and I'm not sure. To me, it's good. We've had some conversations about it before, about it maybe not being so good. So I'm always trying to find an informational edge. So if I'm in a conversation with you, or I'm in a conversation like fully present there, if I'm not, if I'm in between and I'm not meditating or like recovering or something like that, I got a headphone and I'm consuming some information some sort of way. And it's dominantly going to be entertaining.
The Breakfast Club.
Well, but through that, Breakfast Club is certainly input. That's all of them going to be on the menu. I don't really bang with Shay Shay like that, but I think there are moments where, like the Glorilla interview, there was never going to be a moment where I was going to be more interested in how or who she was talking to, because I'm going like, this is either going to be really creepy or this is going to be really interesting. And we've, talked to Glow a couple times in person and all the rest of that. And she's just incredibly charming. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, oh, well, let me get into that for that reason. But past that, I'm also listening to audiobooks. I'm taking or watching like YouTube courses, or, it could be a wide spectrum of different.
You have
masterclass
now, right?
Masterclass, like, I might be on something on Skillshare. It could be a range of things. Yeah. I'm in a dispute with them, by the way. But either way it goes, like just trying to like always get an informational or strategic edge through taking something in.
Yeah.
And I rarely listen to music. I've never really like listened to music. So even we were driving in the car, like, I'm either putting it in my ear or I'm wanting to put it on the actual audio in there.
Yeah. At the time of this recording, you still haven't listened to Glorilla's latest project. No, and I am not caught up on all the rap beef. So I don't know if this is going to be timely by the time y'all are watching this, but y'all will know what we talking about. Obviously, Glorilla just dropped the project a couple weeks ago now. And then currently, like right now, there's some rap beef going on. But I think one thing that sometimes bothers me about that habit, even though it is a good habit, to you, but I think for me, sometimes it is inconvenient when like we're in a grocery store and I'm like, hey, you want to get this, or can you go grab some bananas
out to listen
and
to
you like, huh? So I am repeating myself every time I try to say something to him. But there's moments where I understand if you're at your desk and you have your headphones in, if I say something.
And that's the time I can't actually listen a lot of times.
Yeah, but I understand if I do need to get your attention and you might ask me to repeat myself, that's one thing. But we go to the grocery store or we're about to go meet my parents or something for lunch and you have one headphone in while we're trying to talk to my parents. And I'm just like, whoa, you got to be on your phone. You did that when we was at Bearcat.
Oh,
you came, sat down at the table.
At the beginning, yeah.
But you had just got there and you was late and I ordered your food. That's how, like, you came after us.
But I was transitioning.
Anyways, excuses. Like, but yeah, it's a good habit for you, but sometimes it feels inconvenient for me depending on the situation.
Because I need to unplug in order to replug into whatever's happening.
And it's always one headphone. It's always one headphone.
Because I want to have like, my ear to the street.
For what?
I mean, hey man, kick a, just trying to learn.
Okay. Let's talk routine.
Yeah.
A routine that I am super into right now is sleep meditation. Mm-hmm. I think that this is worth anybody trying because we all have to go to sleep at some point. And even though we may or may not have this extensive night routine, I neglected my night routine for a long time, by the way. Mm-hmm. But a sleep meditation session, especially like a sound meditation, is so different and it puts you in a different headspace. It really allows you to disconnect from your day without feeling like, you need to sit up straight and do a meditation session like that.
Yeah.
I was on Threads the other day and I just happened to come across someone, say something about, how are y'all, doing your sleep night routine, or how are you getting more quality sleep? However, the woman asked the question. And I decided, I didn't know this person. It was a random thread that I saw, but I'm like, I'm going to respond because I saw so many of the replies and they were sharing with her, take, what is it? Melatonin at night, do this, some magnesium. Like I hear a lot of good stuff about like magnesium or basically like sleeping aids. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait. Like, before I don't know this. I don't know this woman. So without assuming things about other people, I'm going to tell you my experience, and I don't always opt for the sleeping aids first, but this is what you can do. And it is something that's free. Like you really don't even need to pay for anything for this. So you don't have to ingest anything. It is sleep meditation. So I shared that with her and she replied back and she was really like, I'm thankful for your response. And that's just the way that I would approach something like that. So of course I have a night routine where I usually start to wind down I try to start to wind down about 9:00 and take a shower. I get my skincare out. That's really helped me in doing all the steps of my skincare process. Laying up all the things out, what I'm going to do when I get out the shower, and taking, what else do I do? I might take my evening primrose oil at night, even though I do not have to take that at night. It's just the flower is called evening primrose. I just end up taking it at night. That's good for, skin and nails, things like that. After that, I'm going to make sure that I have my headphones to do the sound meditation. I usually read a book before then. Sometimes I'm reading on my iPad. I like it to be really dark in the room, so I do not read a physical book at night. So I read on the digital screen. I know that that's bad, but it doesn't affect my sleep because I think the rest of my routine. Yeah, so I know I'm carrying on here.
Yeah, this is lived. This is not, ain't no cap in your rap right now. This is literally, you are really, really religious about these routines.
I've worked on my night routine because I didn't have one until about maybe the last year. I think when we went to LA and we came back, that's when I decided I'm going to work on a night routine because I was so trying to get back into the rhythm of things after we were living in LA for a few months. Yeah. So when we came back to New Orleans and back to our home, I started to work on that because I had such a great morning routine, which if you follow me, you have probably seen me post and share some of the things about my morning routine just on the fly because that's something that is sacred to me. Yeah. But the night routine, I did not have one. And I felt like I could have been getting better sleep. I'm like, how can I optimize my sleep so I can wake up at the 5:30, the 6 o'clock that I want to?
Yeah, I'm totally outclassed. I don't have any routine that is
That's okay.
Not just as rigid, as clear as what you have in terms of either routine. And that you can categorize or label different routines is actually
the night
admirable.
From the morning?
I mean, it has its own time cue to it, but the items in it, and you're going like, all right, cool. If I had to write out this routine, you could really.
Yeah, I get. Right? I like to get my scarf, my headphones. I know like when I'm plugging my Apple Watch in.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I know that I'm turning on the air purifier thingy, whatever that is. It's like it provides a little bit of white noise too because we live in the city. I know that I'm drawing the curtains and sometimes I'd be so mad because I forget something. I'm like, I got to get up. I turn the air down. Like
I used to have like a routine, a morning routine, like how I went from like immediate get up and jump in the cold shower. Like I used to have a very step by step, and now I'm a lot more flexible based on what.
How did you get more flexible? Yeah. And why? Yeah, why? How did you get that way? Why are you more flexible with your morning routine?
Well, yeah, I ended up spending that time in that managerial role, that music business manager role, and it just required that I was way more bendable because I couldn't dictate or control when the fire would deliver to my doorstep. And so if I had to get up, if I had to be down, whatever I needed to do, I just needed to bring an energy to it, which is why it was going to be a temporary role for me. But
I think that's a good thing is to have, a routine that if you're in that type of situation where I have a 5-minute routine, I have a 45-minute routine, and I have a routine that if I have 2 hours, I got that kind of routine. So that way, if you don't always have your ideal morning routine, you still have one that you can get into if you need to. Yeah.
I had a partner at the time that I would talk to at the top of the day. And it was just like, he would have his coffee, I guess, and he could go 20, 30, 40 minutes at a super high intense, like boom, boom. And it was just like, just hearing somebody like just go at you or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he wasn't trying to be a jerk or anything. It was just like his way. And it was one of the best educations I've ever had because I couldn't escape the drama, trauma, whatever was coming in that day because it was starting right there. And he knew how to put the stress on.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, you remember the time. And so it's like, it was a way that I needed to be. And I just kind of kept with it because I understand now that I can recover. Yeah. Because I know what I can lean on.
Do you have like an ideal morning routine or you don't, not even a routine, or not even a morning routine.
Like an ideal morning.
Just a routine?
So I think that the routine that I rely on the most is just how I break my fast. So it's always going to be greens in first. So I'm not going to take in anything else before I take in the greens. And it's going to be at the end of my fast, which I'm going to start to calculate my eating window as soon as I break my fast. And I want to keep I guess you were probably going to ask, intermittent fasting is what I'm
say what you're why you're fasting. I think most of you are familiar with what fasting is, but what your particular relationship is with it.
Yeah. So for me, I need the energy that comes with a restrictive eating pattern. I'm trying to avoid carbs and all the rest of that. Like, sugars, any dependency, chemical dependency that comes from like food, alcohol, anything else.
Because what happens is your body will end up going into a state of ketosis, correct?
Correct. Or potentially, depending on what you're eating or not. So I only have like 2 real goals. It is to land under 50 grams of carbs per day. If I'm doing great, if I'm in great health, which I haven't been in a long time, like I'm able to get into the 10, 15, 20 range, that's ideal. And, I'm chopped up at that point. But right now, just as a livable intake, under 50 grams on a day. And I'm trying to eat inside of a 6-hour window. But the first trigger must be greens, because if it's something else, then it's waking my body up in the wrong way.
Yeah, too soon. So the greens...
Or with the wrong ingredient, because like you're starting your ingestion, right? Or you're feeding.
Yeah, my bad. Not too soon, but it's too much.
Just literally with the wrong macros.
Yeah.
So I want to oh, body, we put healthy things in first. Because some people will get to, especially when you're first starting to fast, you will go to the most sugar rich, that kind of thing. And now your body's going from there to shock. Yeah. And, and now it's going to get inflammation because of, or you're going to become inflamed.
And the macros of the greens are really, it's technically, depending on how you determine breaking a fast, it technically doesn't break a fast. Depending on how you look at that.
Yeah.
Because it does have I think it's 50 calories. Obviously it's all the vitamins and the nutrition. So shout out to Athletic Greens. I am patiently awaiting to, work with the brand.
I should be a Diamond Club member.
Something. Is there not a referral? Do you not have an affiliate link? This is insane.
I'm sure I got an affiliate link, but
if anybody watching has, and I've said this now several times, I'm dead serious. Anybody has a contact at Athletic Greens, y'all should be saying that, Rashad and Jordan should be doing, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that person to be I want a handout, sponsor me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm more we need to be on somebody's radar.
We are responsible for at least, I would say we're good for at least 5 to 10 subscriptions a year.
Yeah. Solid over the last 5 years, 6 years.
So we probably put, I know I've probably influenced directly 25 to 30 subscriptions.
And that's not even trying. That's just organic.
Just the truth of it.
So that's the greens that you break the fast with.
Yeah.
Best greens on the market, not top 2, not 2.
Yeah.
What else? What's next?
In terms of the for me, I mean, that's pretty much the system thing, I think.
Your routine.
Routine. Yeah. Routine. Yeah.
Your routine to break your fast.
Yeah. And just like my eating
and your
routine
fasting
overall.
is a routine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the only one that I'm really leaning on from a routine standpoint. And the rest of it is like over longer periods of time. So like there's not a daily routine. I think that's maybe the thing that I'm thinking
No, not
about
necessarily. I think a routine doesn't have to be
doesn't have to be daily.
It
could be a weekly routine, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. And routines are so individual to the person and the lifestyle, the environment that they're in, like what they have responsibilities to.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a system is a little bit more widespread, although it is
my pattern recognition may be, you know, may be missing a bit on this too. Because I may not recognize like, you know, what.
No, your routine is totally, you know, you eat at a certain time and you start with a certain thing and then you
That's right.
take your BCA powder or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is that pre-workout? It's not pre-workout.
Hell no.
Oh.
The pre-workout has all kind of trash in it. Caffeine plus whatever else, you know, is the flavor of the month.
The
Lion's
sugar.
Mane, might be whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess inside of the maintenances, so like I'm also targeting like, you know, 125 to 200 grams of protein. So that's my target. So in that mix that you're talking about, I have 2 protein mixes. I have the main protein mix, which is just a straight down IsoPure. So I'm running that probably like twice. And then both of them are IsoPure, but I do like the IsoPure infusion when I'm just looking for like a little pseudo sugar fix. And I'll mix that with the BCA joints.
A little bit more
there.
fruity.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of in between. So I'm also just like adding another 20, 25, you know, in between those big scoop moments where I'm doing the 40 and the 60.
Yeah. 2 things that I want to share real quick. One on the heels of the fasting and like how you manage your eating routine.
Yeah.
Your partner will influence the way that you eat.
Oh, it's only going to be one winner.
I have influenced the way that Rashad eats. He has influenced the way that I eat. And we've gone through now years of ebbs and flows and some ups and some downs. And I think that, you know, with my health fluctuating recently, I've decided to be a lot more serious about what I am putting into my body. So that has affected him because it affects.
The happiest I've been for eating since we've been together.
Yeah, we eat a lot better right now. And I, especially on my personal accounts, I am on a mission to let people know that eating healthy is not boring. It is not untasty or whatever that word is for that. It is not necessarily more expensive either. Because when I look at, I can sit here and add up, okay, this is what we spent on groceries. And then if we would have gone out once or twice, like when we go out to eat, if you've been out to eat with us, we're ordering everything. Like Malcolm's like, yeah. So it's like if we would have went out to eat once or twice, and I bet a lot of y'all, if y'all calculated how much y'all spend out to eat. So it's a whole thing. It takes more time to cook at home. It certainly does. That's where routines and systems, especially systems, come into play.
Yeah.
So
I like washing dishes.
Yeah, you actually will clean up the kitchen after. So I do a lot of the cooking, and then he tag teams with me to, you know, make sure everything is put back in its place and tidied up. So that's really helpful. Because there's nothing like cooking, and then you got to do the dishes too.
That's right.
Or you got to do the dishes before you cook, because it's just like, ugh. Yeah. In addition to that, so choose wisely, because the food in our environments and a lot of our environments is not meant to honestly make us healthy or contribute to our well-being. It's made to just hurry up, get something in us. And a lot of it's so processed. So I don't want to, I kind of don't want to become that girl that, so I need to figure out how to deliver this information around the ingredients that are in our food and how it really makes us feel, and how it actually, because of what we do for a living, how it affects our creativity. Mm-hmm. If it affects your brain, it's going to affect your creativity. And so and that's going to affect how much money you make, how many clients you can work with, what types of projects and rooms you get invited to. It's facts. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I want to share is, I think that the idea of habits and the routines and systems can sound so rigid and so, disciplined, like, oh, you're so consistent. And I get that a lot, that I'm very organized and I'm consistent and I'm disciplined and I am all those things. But I have also worked really hard to be all of those things, to kind of get a grip around controlling my impulses and things like that. And I think, you do that really well. And you work for a certain mindset because, you want a certain outcome. And so I think that being disciplined with a routine, say it is a morning routine or a night routine, an eating routine, it is a skill like anything else. And it takes practice and it takes you showing up for yourself over and over and over again to be able to get that routine down. So don't necessarily count yourself out because you couldn't, stick to something for a week like that. It's hard.
What's motivating you for executing those routines to that level?
My night routine specifically is because I want a good night's sleep, no matter what kind of day I had or what kind of day that I'm going to have next. If I have...
But going even a layer deeper than that, like why are you afraid? Or not even, I want to put words in your mouth, but like, why is that important?
To
have the good sleep. Like, what are you either preparing for or like defending against? Maybe
I think my anxiety would be one thing, so at the end of a day, I want to properly close that day, whether it's like, reflection or just to kind of like wipe off. Maybe it was a good day, but I know I need to still start fresh. Maybe it was a bad day and I know I need to still start fresh. So my night routine is just like that closure. And for me to reward myself, and not really even like reward, but for me to set myself up to be strong the next day when I wake up and I want to get quality sleep. So I'm like, how can I make sure that I'm...
So do you have like a remembrance of like having a bad or low performing day? Is that what, right? I'm trying to identify if there is a carrot and or stick for doing this, for doing like nailing the routine.
Maybe this will answer your question. I had a tough time for a while when I would be trying to wind down and you were getting going for the night.
Yeah.
So you were like at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. on your peak, about to just go for another 2 or 3 hours working on something, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I am, maybe because I usually just rise earlier, I'm tired. So I'm trying to go to sleep, but it was hard for me to know that you were kind of still in the house and like working on stuff. And so I wasn't it would take me longer to fall asleep.
So you kind of like, you're doing that so that, and I want to track it to the next day because you're doing something on, let's say, Thursday night that you get the benefit of on Friday morning. So I would imagine you would need to see the Friday morning or have an expectation for who you want to be or what you want to do.
On Friday morning
or Friday day, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of times it's because my morning routine is so important to me too. So
are you like giving yourself like a good job for nailing the night routine and a good job for nailing the morning routine? Or is it just like, you do those things to develop a momentum to go into either of those? I'm just asking.
I just want to get good sleep and I want to get up in the morning and do my workout because if I don't work out in the morning, I'm not going to work out. And it's like my physical health is very important to me. And because my physical health is really important to me.
There we go.
And because I want to work out in the mornings, because if I don't, I won't get it done.
And your performance.
So I need to go to sleep at night so I can do that stuff in the morning. And then everything in between is like, work, whatever the rest of the stuff for the day calls, it's,
So the first performance point for you to see if you've done those things well is the workout, I'm curious even about that. You don't have to have any of this in place. Because you got me
in this circle right now, like this loop.
But this is what's so funny. So like for me, everything has like a bookend or like a mile marker. Like everything does. So I was wondering if you had that and maybe you don't. It's not important that anyone else does.
I never thought about it like that. Yeah. I think of, if I'm thinking of something on a 24-hour cycle or just like a daily cycle, it's, the seize the day, carpe diem kind of concept is just how, if I'm starting my day, in such a rhythm because I have I have been a morning routine person since I can remember.
Yeah.
Like for my whole life. So if I can do that so well, why can't I do a night routine? Why am I neglecting a night routine? What does a night routine look like for me? Because the routines, y'all, look different for all of us. It's not a one size fits all.
Right.
You know, it's just however it makes sense for you. Maybe you're a person who likes to take a bath at night and like light the candle. And that's the way you cleanse yourself and then start to wind down. Maybe you do bedtime yoga. Maybe you don't really do anything. But I want you to do something, because it's just that is the mile marker. It's like my day is done. Like this is how I'm slams the laptop shut. You can do that every day.
Yeah. I think, I guess I'm much more, and especially in this way, I'm thinking about like my goals and like how everything lines up, and just like my whole life is like this whole set of like very clearly defined puzzle pieces that make up, the parts of this, puzzled painting. And I'm going like, this is connected to this, and this is why it's connected to this, and this is why all of it works. I think we're
saying the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
You just call me Routine Ray because I want routine. I like routine.
And you like the routine because I wonder what your therapist would say.
She loves it. I just like a rhythm.
You just like
However,
a rhythm.
Because I could be so rhythmic and sometimes rigid with a routine, y'all see what I did there? Is because first of all, I just like to do that. Yeah. But I've learned that I need provision for when things do not go that way. So when I can't work out, have my full workout in the morning, what else can I do that still gives me that? So for instance, right now we are actually out of Athletic Greens for the second month. We've run out. We have this like lapse of 3 or 4 days between.
Like, what's happening with that? But we fixed it.
So
now.
What I do, I still take my Athletic Greens bottle. I just put water in it. And that's my placebo. That's because that's still my routine. So I'm not giving up I don't have Athletic Greens to scoop in there. Yeah. But I'm staying on, my track as much as possible. It just makes me feel like I have some sense of predictability about what I'm doing. Because when I'm not rhythmic, I am like distracted.
I wonder if if this breaks down to, and it may not, but it just seems like, it's the way for you to develop a lot of personal wins for your own psychology. Yeah,
it helps me just check the boxes, and I feel like it is a bit meticulous and like OCD maybe, and it's very likely the way that I do stuff is not for everybody. That's not what I'm saying. No, I'm just sharing. I'm not taking it in that way. What I do. Yeah.
I'm just curious about like how your mind works.
And I'm like really proud of it. And it's like sometimes people can be like, oh yeah, that's too much. Or maybe you don't have as much time in the morning as I do. And that's fine. Like maybe you don't want to get up at that time or you don't want to whatever. But like
regardless of you would have got up early.
There's parts of my morning routine that I think that a lot of people could be like, you know what? I am going to tap into that. So yeah, that's that. A system that I have that I think is really slept on is grocery delivery. So get your stuff delivered or just order it so you can pick it up. And the way that I think it helps me is I have this like digital receipt of everything that we've ordered over the last couple weeks or forever, honestly. And I can see what we ordered last time. It's really easy for me to, have the fridge also organized in a way where I can see really quickly what we need. And I recognize that as a system because that is something that I could literally hand that over to you and you'd be like, oh yeah, I could order the groceries, whereas like my morning routine, I'm not finna hand that over to you and be like, here, do this. Like, so a system is a bit more of a, detailed, just this is my method for how we replenish our groceries every week. And I do it that way. It's really easy on me. I don't have to go walk through all the aisles. Obviously, if you have a routine and you like the routine of going to the grocery store, that's a totally different conversation. But if you like, I don't ever have time to go to the grocery store. I'm running out of stuff all the time. I ain't got it. So then now I'm eating poorly because I hurried up and got Uber Eats and now I'm spending more money on Uber Eats. Figure out your system for grocery delivery or grocery pickup. So that way, I told somebody the other day, I say, oh, when you was on your flight back from the Final Four, you could have just ordered your groceries while you was on a plane. And just pick them up on your way from the airport or got them delivered, the next morning whenever you woke up, your groceries would have been there.
I think there's like an efficiency that we're both after because we want to we want to control or manage our time overall.
Mm-hmm.
And so like my dad wouldn't have a concern about efficiency. So that's why he would want to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
So it's interesting like how.
And it's not always the most efficient thing to do.
No.
But I can see where if say you have kids and you like, you know what, I'm going to the grocery store.
Yeah,
I'm getting away. I'm
me.
getting out the house. I get it. I understand.
Yeah,
I went to Whole Foods a couple weeks ago because I was like, I just want to walk through the aisles.
Yeah.
Peruse is the word that I use. I just want to peruse through the aisles at Whole Foods. I don't do this very often, and I'm not going to get everything because I get everything delivered, but I'm going to go get some snacks.
Yeah.
Some sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free snacks. All right. Anyways, system for you?
I thought we covered systems already.
You covered routines. That's good.
Okay. So instead of like free journaling, I have like a prompted journal system that I've created for myself. And so that way, that system allows my mind to go through a certain set of sequences in a certain order, a rank order, so that I can really like bring presence to my day when I touch down with it. So it's on like a Google form. It opens with date, and then it goes through a set of routines. I think I sent it to Devon the other day. Let me see. Let me see. Here it is. The first question is, how do you want to feel at the end of the day? The second question is, what's something that made you laugh recently? What are 3 things you're grateful for? What's one thing you'd like to do well today? What's an important goal that you're working towards? What's working well in your life right now? Like these sorts of things. So like, I'm not just like free balling. And it's a few more. I won't bore anyone else with the details, but it just allows me to really like track. And by the time I come out of that, I'm able to write a task list. I'm able to be clear about what the macro is. I'm able to be present and appreciative of things. I'm able to I found a light moment for myself, not take myself too serious through the question about what made you laugh. So it's like a really, really good set of prompts. And if anybody wants them, like I'll send you the whole breakdown.
Yeah.
But it really is a fantastic system for me.
Yeah, I've seen you use that for a while now, and the questions are diverse, and it really helps you be introspective. And I think also framing like your 80-20, like, 80% of what's the thing? Like 20% of the work or something can fuel 80%, the 80% of the return or something. Yeah. And it helps you just really determine like what's important, what to be present for, and, give you that moment. And that's a system. Like that's what the system is. Like, oh, this could be shared with someone else, and they, really could take this on. Want to wrap everything up with sharing. I have a lot of routines for sure. If you want to know more, you know where to find me. I am Jordan Ray on social media everywhere. And Rashad, you are definitely like a systems person, more so than I am, even though I have my systems. I live more maybe in the routine space, and we all have habits because those are things that we do, subconsciously. We are introducing a live series. I wouldn't even say series, but our live concept is coming to YouTube next week. The second installment. We had one last week. So you can go watch the rerun if you did not see that. But it is called MindSetShift. This is produced again by us. This is Rashad and I right now. It's a live check-in. It's a Q&A where you can come and get some real-time thoughts or advice from us. The topic next week is, make sure I'm telling y'all right.
I used to be a drummer. That should have been smooth.
The topic next week, to extend on this conversation, is preparing for a new routine, willpower aside. Because I think a lot of times we feel like we need to be, we need to willpower through something. And there's other ways to prepare for a new routine when you need to change something and you just like, well, how I'm going to do this? And don't rely on your willpower because that's not the way to go. So we'll be talking about that on May 16th. That is Thursday, May 16th at 4 p.m. Central on YouTube Live. It's called Mindset Shift. So we're going to decide on that call together whether we should be setting that mind or shifting that mind, because you can do one or the other. Sometimes you need to be in a setting mode. Sometimes you need to be in a shifting mode. So that's the idea behind all of that.
Yeah. I think there's people like me. I have like a death narrative, right? So the narrative is like, I'm like, sometimes if I won't do something, and it's so extreme and it's so dramatic, but I'm like, yo, like kill yourself. That's how I get in the cold shower. Like just fucking die, right? And I have no chance of dying.
He is so dramatic. He really the dramatic one.
Yeah. So like that's how I get to it. And I think dudes, be saying that, I'm willing to down this floor, down this
Die
field.
about it.
And you really ain't. But you try to get your mind as close to that as possible. So I'm curious to find out what other people think and what other people's narratives are, which is why I was asking the questions I asked you about what you were motivated by, what was the carrot and what was potentially the stick.
Got it. Yeah, that's a great way to button that. So y'all, we'll see you next week for our Mindset Shift that's live on YouTube. Yeah. And then we'll see you the week after that for another Stay Sharp episode. So we're every other week now, but we going to be together weekly, if you know what I'm saying. So check out that. Make sure you click the notify me button, whatever that is. And in the meantime, die about it, but stay sharp.
Be about it. Bye.
Later.